So what'd you guys think of those first couple clips there? It's okay, right? Footage is kind of cool, but just kind of feels like it's missing something, right? Well, today we're going to be talking about sound design, and this is kind of a beginner's guide if you're not really familiar with how to kind of come up with some sound design for your clips. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Today's video is sponsored by Artlist, and we're going to be using Artlist to find some music that helps set the tone for our sequence here. We're also going to be jumping on Artlist to grab sound effects. But overall, we're going to be thinking about how do we start to put all this together? Because if you've never done any kind of sound design before, you never added, sound effects, or I'm sure you've added music to your clips, but you never added in sound effects. Like, how do we start to think about this? That's what this video is going to be about. And then by the end of the video, we're going to have a pretty cool sequence here that should sound and make you feel like you're there. You're in the action. That's kind of what we're going for here. So let's jump in Resolve. We're going to get going here, share my process. We're going to jump on Artlist, grab some awesome assets, and hopefully by the end of this, we are going to have one awesome video. All right, so in Resolve, I put in all the clips that I'm going to use for my sequence. And as we can see, it's way too long, right? It goes all the way up to, what is this, 13 minutes and 8 seconds. Way too long. I'm not making a short film here, although that would be cool. But what we need to do is really compress this down. I want it to be maybe a minute long or something like that. So when I start to think about how can I edit this down, there's a couple ways you can go about it. One way is you can just start to edit this down and trim up these clips, because a lot of these clips are in slow motion. I can speed them up, and I probably don't need all of the clip that we see here. So I was going to start doing it that way, but then I thought, you know what? I kind of want to pick out my music first, so I can kind of edit to the beat a little bit as I'm, editing together this video here. So that's the first thing, is what kind of music do I want that's going to go with this? When I was thinking about it, I kind of wanted something that was a little intense, builds a little bit of tension in there. So what I did was I jotted this stuff down in a little document here. So music, I want cinematic. I want it to start slow, but then build up, and I want it to have a little tension in there. So I know that's the kind of music that I want to go for. Now, when it comes to sound effects, that's a huge part of sound design here, right? What does it sound like? What does those sounds make it feel like? So I wanted to make a list of kind of the ideas and things I was thinking of before I jump onto the Artlist website, because there's so much there. You could easily spend hours, days looking for stuff. So I wanted an idea of what kind of sounds was I looking for. So to do that and figure that out, what I did was I just went through my timeline. I looked at all my different clips, and I just kind of jotted down ideas of sounds I thought might go with the particular clips that I was looking at. So if you look at this little document that I've got right here, we've got things like fire and wind, a diesel truck, water, footsteps in the mud, buckle clicking, metal doors, walkie-talkies, shifting trucks, shifting gears, carrying people, maybe people that sound scared, people yelling. So these are the kind of things that I'm thinking about before I even go and look for the clips that I'm going to use in my timeline. So the first thing that I want to do after kind of jotting down my ideas here is to jump onto Artlist, and I want to pick my music first so I can kind of come up with a rough edit before I add in any sound effects or anything like that. With this in mind, I jump onto the Artlist website. Now, if you haven't checked out Artlist before, you gotta check it out. It's artlist.io. They have so much music, sound effects. There is so much good stuff here. Let's just take a quick look at what they have to offer. So this is my account. I'm logged in here. We've got music. You've got all kinds of different music. You can scroll through, listen to music, download it right here. You can add it to groups. You can save it as favorites. There's all different ways to sort through the music. You can preview it right here on the website. It works great. And one of the coolest things that I like is this spotlight right here. If you come to the spotlight, they kind of curate different types of music for you, whether it's by month or for TikTok, for corporate stuff. It's a great way to just kind of go somewhere quick, see some curated songs, download some things that you might think are interesting, and try them out in your video. And then where we're going to find all of our sound effects is right here in the sound effects panel. I've used tons of sound effects from Artlist, and they're just awesome. I mean, the quality is great, and they really just help bring your video to that next level. They help bring the viewer into your video, help them feel the video like they're there, and that's what we're going to try and accomplish with today's video of the firefighters. So if you do want to sign up for Artlist, link in the description below. You sign up for a year, and you'll get 2 extra months for free. Check that out if you're interested. I would highly recommend Artlist. I've been using them for a long time, and pretty much all the songs and sound effects you hear on my channel are from Artlist. They're great. I love them. Thanks so much, Artlist, for sponsoring today's video. So let's take a look at some of the songs that I already picked out for our video here. So in order to find them, I can come to my library, and I've got a couple of collections here that I've already created. I created one called Firefighters. So in here, I've got a bunch of different clips. I'm just going to listen through them again real quick and kind of see what I think of them. Grab my trusty headphones. Got to wear some headphones when I'm doing some audio work here. Love me some good audio, you know what I mean? If you've been around my channel, you know that. So I'm going to listen to a couple of these, maybe download a few, throw them in with my clips, and just kind of see, do I like the vibe that I'm getting when the song is right next to the video clips? All right, so looking at these again, I like a lot of these. I'm just going to download a couple of them to try out. So downloading songs from Artlist, super easy. Let's say I want this one right here, Fortitude. I'm going to come over here, and we can see that I actually already downloaded this one once before because it's got a little yellow down arrow here. But you just click on that, and you could pick either a WAV file or an MP3. I usually do MP3s, and that seems to work out just fine for me. So I'm going to download this one. I do like this futuristic war one as well. I'm going to download that as well. This one in the beginning, I like that. I'm going to download that. And it begins. That looks like a good one too. So let's try these guys out. Now, it's awesome that they download right from the website, just like this when I hit this little download button. But hey, if you need to go back and download some things, or you want to see some songs that you downloaded in the past, if I come to my library here, I can scroll to the top, and I've got download history. And this is going to show me all the songs that I've downloaded and used in my videos. You can show more. I mean, it'll have everything here that you've downloaded before in case you can't find it on your computer or something. Shows you what you got. One of the great things with this too is that once you use the song and you've downloaded it, you're good to go. Even if you stop your service, you're good to go. Your video isn't going to get taken down. You've got the song license and you're okay. You're good to go. All right, I got my songs here in DaVinci Resolve, and I'm just going to go with this one right here as somewhere to start. I'm going to drop it in, and it looks like it's about a minute long, so I'm okay with that. I'm okay with a minute long. So now I'm just going to start watching through my clips here, and I'm going to see how the audio sounds here. Let's play through just the first little bit of it, and then I'm going to go through and edit it. I'm not going to show you how I cut up each part and each clip and all that. If you're interested in that, let me know. Comment down below. But I'll just cruise through that so then we can get into the sound design for the sound effects and kind of bring this thing to life a little bit more. So let's give this just a little listen here in the beginning and see how it sounds. All right, so I think this song is going to work. I'm going to speed through to this. You guys can watch the little speed edit here. I'm going to shrink down these clips and try and get it fit on our music track here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll be back in a second here. So I just got done putting together my rough edit here. I'm going to play it through once for you. It's about a minute long. Take a look, and now we're going to start adding in some sound effects. So here it is with just the music in there. Tell me what you think, and then we'll get into downloading some sound effects. All right, so that's what it's looking like so far. We'll probably tweak it as we move along here. One of the things you might have noticed, a little quick tip here, is how to edit to the beat. One thing that might help you out is as you're playing through your song, you hit the M key for the marker to put a marker everywhere you hear the beat. So you just keep your hand on that M key and boom, boom, boom. You hit the M key and you'll get markers, and that'll help adjust your clips for you there. All right, let's get into the sound effects. So I'm going to bring up my little list of sound effects that I have here. I'm actually going to print it out. And then we're going to jump over to Artlist, and we're going to try and find sound effects that kind of match what I've got over here on my list. So back on Artlist, to get to the sound effects, we're just going to come right here and click on sound effects. Now we can search for anything that we want, or we can look through the different categories here and find things that we like. So I know one of the things on my list was wind. I'm just gonna go ahead and click on the wind here, and I'm just gonna go through and play some of these guys and see what they sound like. All All right, that's not bad. That's a little too ocean-like. All right, that was not too bad. So you get the idea. I'm just going to go through and pick out some of the things that I like. Taking a look at my long list here. I'll leave the list for you guys to take a look at on the screen here for a second. And you can screenshot it, whatever. Find some things that maybe you think might be kind of cool. Maybe it'll help give you some ideas of things to look for when you're looking for clips for your video. But I'm going to jump in here, and it's going to take a little while to go through, pick out some good effects here, and then we'll bring them into Resolve and start editing together our sound effects. All right, so we got all our sound effects. I brought them into Resolve here. If you take a look, a little above my head here, I created a new bin for all my sound effects, and I put them all in there. And now we're going to go through the timeline and start putting in the sound effects. So the first run through that I want to do is just kind of find spots where I want to put these sound effects. I'm not going to worry about the levels. I'll come back and do that later. Of course, I don't want to blast in, but I'm going to go ahead and drop them in and try and put them in places that I think make sense and kind of adds to the whole video. So to make a little bit more room on my screen here, I'm going to actually close the mixer, close the inspector. I'm going to open up both viewers here so I can see my music and preview it, as well as be able to see what's going on over here in my main timeline. Next, I want to come to my timeline view options. I'm going to shrink down my audio track because I actually want to make a few more audio tracks. I think sometimes we may need to layer our sound effects so we can have multiple sound effects going on at one time. So I'm going to create, say, maybe 3 extra audio layers for right now. So I'm going to add a track, stereo, add a track, stereo, and add another track, stereo, and I'm just going to name them SFX 1, 2, and 3. All right, got those guys named, and I'm going to actually shrink down my video clips because I don't really need to know what's going on with them too much anymore, so I'm going to shrink that down. Shrink my audios a little bit here, give myself a little more room for my audio clips. You can do all this in Fairlight if you want. I'm going to start here in the Edit tab. Sometimes I jump into Fairlight, just depends on how it's all working out. So I'm just going to watch through the video here. Maybe we'll do the first couple together, then I'll just cruise through and add the rest in. We'll see what it looks like towards the end. So watching the video, let's see what we want up front here. So I think I want some wind right up front here. I think that would be a good addition. So let me see if I can find my wind. So I'm going to drop my wind on track 1. I'm going to drop the volume down there because I don't want to be too loud. So let's see what that's sounding like. And I'm actually going to have it fade in. All right, let's see what we got. That's a little too loud. Just drop that down. And again, like I said, we're going to set our levels at the end here, but you just ballpark it now, you know, just judging by ear where I want it to fall. That's what I'm doing right now. All right, so we got the fire going on there. So I do need some fire noise. So I'm going to check through my sound effects here, see what I got for fire. So I'm liking this one right here. We're going to bring this guy down. And right where my house clip comes in, I want the sound effect of the fire to kind of start. Let's bring the volume down on that guy. Let's try this. And already it's starting to add some life to this video, right? By bringing in those sound effects. Sound design makes a huge difference. Moving on to the next part here, we got the guys running into the fire shop, or the firehouse, I should say. So let's see if I got some footprints or people running. All right, I have some wet footprints because I know there's a part where people are stepping in water. The firefighters are stepping in water. So if I don't have a footstep one, then I can always go and grab one of those. So I didn't have an effect of the guys running or shoes on concrete like we have here in the fire station. But when I did check out the sound library, right up here, there happened to be one already in there. Concrete shoes running. And there's a couple other ones there too. But I think this concrete shoes running is going to work for me. So I'm just going to click on it, drag it, bring it down my timeline. Now we do already have our 3 tracks used up. So I may need to add more sound effects tracks. That's okay. It's not a big deal. So I'm going to continue on with my editing. And I may want to solo this so I can speed up these footsteps a little bit. I'd like to match it up with the guys running in as best I can. So there's, boom, 1 footstep right there. Put that there. Let's see, is there any part that's a little quicker? So we'll just trim this guy up and make it a little shorter here. And I'm going to fade that in so you kind of hear them coming before you actually see the clip. And if I don't like that, I'm actually just going to cut this clip up here. I'm going to cut on either side of the footstep, and let's see if I like that. And I could just make the footsteps match to wherever I want. So I'll copy this guy, bring him back here a little. So it kind of starts like a little before they're actually in, and then maybe a little after. Let's try that, see what's that looking like. All right, it's not too bad, but with everything else that's going on, it's probably not going to sound as abrupt, and it might be okay. So let's give it a listen. All right, that's good. I think I'm just going to bring down the volume on them a little bit there, so they kind of blend in a little bit better. All right, not too shabby. So then we're just going to move ahead, and we've got some other sound effects that I picked up for like clothes and people getting dressed, maybe putting their feet in the boot. So I'm going to try and put some of those in there, and then we'll see how that sounds. And one of the things that I like to do that's going to help your sound design is if you overlap the sounds with your clips a little bit. For example, in the beginning here, I have this kind of just shot panning across with the sun in the sky here, but I want to start the fire sound before I actually get to the house on fire. So you hear it, and then you're like, oh, something must be on fire. And then you see the house on fire. So a little tip there. Notice how right here, my sound effect clip, it starts a little bit before the actual clip of the house burning. So a little tidbit there for you might help you out with your sound design. And for example, if I like my alarm clip, I'm just going to copy it so then I can continue to have that alarm sound going off in the video here. And I think I might like it to start loud and then get a little quieter. And I'm going to do that using some keyframes. All right, and we're going to continue on. I know I got some buckles here, the helmets and stuff, and the truck starting up, the doors. So we're going to go ahead and throw all that in there. All right, so just to show you guys some of the things that I'm doing here as I'm cruising through. I know I'm going through a lot of this fast because you probably don't want to sit here and watch me tweak and move each little clip. But I'm basically trying to put the clips where it sounds like it makes sense in the video, and maybe if it's not exactly the sound that you're seeing on the screen, something that just emulates it, that makes you think it. So I've layered up a couple different fire sound effects. I think that's working out pretty good. It just gives it more depth. And you might have seen real quick, I was kind of going through and soloing different audio tracks so I can hear different effects layered on top of each other. For example, I might want to try, and see how my fire sounds. So if I come here and I play through, I'll just add in the clips and listen to what this sounds like here. There's just some wind, a little low fire, a little more fire on top of that, so you can hear the difference between the two. And now if I add the intense fire on top, now, I don't know if you guys noticed that. I got good headphones on here. They got some good bass and low end in them. So as soon as I turn on that last fire effect there, it really kind of fills out the sound and kind of, brings in that low end of the fire, the rumbling to it. You kind of want to think about those things when you're putting effects in there. Like, can I layer stuff to make it sound better? Can I make it more dynamic? One of the things that I'm doing is fading in and fading out clips a lot. Start the audio sound a little bit before you see it on screen, so you can hear it coming in the video and you start to think about it. So some other things that I was doing, I did use some keyframes here. For example, looking on the screen here, this effect right here is a fire hose effect or a water effect that I'm using. It's a jet car wash. So let's solo that. Now, this is what that sounds like. So it kind of sounds like he's spraying. And notice I continue that sound when you see all the fire here with nobody in it, just giving you the idea that he's still hosing it down and spraying it. But as I move ahead a little bit, then I have these guys coming in and they're trying to rescue somebody. So I want that noise of the hose to come down a little bit. So I used some keyframes to do that. I just kind of keyframed it around the area that I want the volume to be lowered for the hose. And then once he carries them out, we get back to an image of the guys with the hose. So I want that to be louder again. So then I keyframed it and brought that volume back up. You want the audio and the video to go hand in hand. You want the viewer to feel something, and you want it to match up with what's going on the screen and make sense. So I think I got most of the sound effects in there. Is it perfect? No, could still use some work. So I'm going to go back, tweak it a little more. I'm going to play with the levels and the volume of my different clips a little bit to make sure nothing's too crazy loud or too quiet. I can't hear it. I want to try and clean it up a little bit and make it as clear and as crisp as I can so you can hear all the different things that are going on in there. So to do that, I'm going to do it in the Edit tab. You can jump into Fairlight if you need to. And a lot of these things, these sounds can all be modified by applying different effects. I mean, there's an unlimited number of ways you can modify sounds here in DaVinci Resolve to change it, make it different, make it lower pitched, make it higher pitched. You've got tons of stuff that you can do here. So I'm going to jump back in the edit tab here, kind of tweak things, play with some levels. I'm going to open my mixer right up in here, open the mixer, watch my levels, and we're going to try and balance this thing out a little bit. All right, so I went through, I kind of edited all the levels of everything. Is it perfect? No, it probably could use some more pass-throughs, but I'm going to play it for you guys here. I want to hear what you think. Comment down below. Does the music and the sound effects make a difference in this video? You saw it in the beginning with nothing going on in there, and now you're hearing it with all the sound effects. What do you think? I mean, I think it's pretty cool. What do you guys think? Comment down below. All right, so that wraps up our beginner's guide here on how to start to add in some sound design into your videos. It can make a huge difference and just make the viewers on the other side connect with your videos better, can make your video just more awesome. I mean, let's be honest, there's so much you can do with sound effects, sound design, and with music to your videos. So I want to say thank you to Artlist for sponsoring today's video. Thank you for all the awesome assets that you guys have. If any of you guys are interested in Artlist, there's a link in the description below. You can get 2 months free if you sign up using that link, and I think you would enjoy it. I love Artlist. I've been using them for a long time, and they have great stuff over there. So thank you to Artlist, and thank you guys for sticking around, checking out this video. Hope you learned a little something. If you did, just a little something, give this video a thumbs up for me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and with that said, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace!